Hey, Brian Wiedemer here. Today we're going to talk about Chapter 14, Position 1. Schools can and should curb violence and bullying. So, be a hero, not a bully. So, schools are extensions of a community. John Dewey once stated that schools are extensions of the community and this country, and schools share the burdens of caring for the community's children and for equipping them with skills and habits necessary to survive and succeed. I wholeheartedly agree here that the school a lot of times is the lifeblood of the community, and however the school's doing, it's how the community's doing, and vice versa. So they're just extensions of one another. The times they are changing. Society is constantly changing, and even more so rapidly now than it ever has been in the past. And schools always have to adjust to the change. Alright, so they must meet the demands of changing society, or risk becoming obsolete. If schools don't meet the demands of society, then what's their point? Right? They're there to help society out and to help bring forth a new generation into society so we can keep being, great. Especially in democracy, you need strong, knowledgeable voters. And so if schools don't change with the times, then there's no point in having them. But change is difficult, especially in schools, because change is ever so slowly in schools. And beyond curriculum, the community's problems are always the school's problem. Like I mentioned earlier, they kind of go hand in hand together. Now, schools are expected to teach beyond the curriculum and play a role in helping children adjust to the conditions of the day. Okay, teachers aren't just there to teach curriculum. I'm a social studies teacher. I don't just teach social studies. I teach about life. I teach about, helping kids understand what's going on in the world around them, so hopefully they can cope and deal with all the issues and become better citizens. All right, that's teaching beyond the curriculum. That's what schools need to do. All right, schools cannot just stick to curriculum, expect children and society to benefit as a whole. It's not going to happen. All right, schools must show that children that they care about them and they're there for them to help them navigate through life's difficulties. And communities is constantly changing, we said earlier, but it is becoming violent as well. Right? Violence is increasing in the lives of children, and programs to prevent violence and aggression have become more common in schools as violence has increased. Right? Students' lives are filled with problems they never had concerned with before. Problems with, like, maybe going home and being the parent, because the parent's always gone, and they have to take care of their little brother or sister. They have to cook, they have to fend for themselves. There's just so many problems today. Children have to grow up faster today than they ever have been in the past. That's not a good thing. Right? And so, along with that, the breakdown of the family. A large part of the problem is you have a lot of single-parent households. A lot of them are great, but it's difficult, and it really does hurt society when you don't have that two-parent household. So the breakdown in the family really causes a lot of violence as well. Right? And a lot of things that used to be taught at home and now have to be taught at school, such as respect for self and others, how to handle adversity, how to work with others, and become productive members of society, are all being taught at school and have to be taught at school, because teachers see the child more than anybody else, and so their number one line of defense of helping children cope with society and help them become productive. And so schools need to do this, need to help prevent violence, need to teach students how to handle aggression properly, and to how to handle bullying and all of that. So more and more is being put on the shoulders of schools, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because that's part of our job as being a teacher, is taking care of life as well. Right? America is born to be violent. I love the quote from the book. It says, "Violence is as American as apple pie. Apple pie and baseball is about American you can get, but violence is as well, because the United States born revolution, Revolutionary War against Britain, violent." Right? We make heroes out of gunfighters, like John Wayne and all the Western movies, Billy the Kid. Heroes out of gunfighters, and then warriors like Hercules, Attila the Hun. All these warriors, we make them as heroes, and we just love violence, and Hollywood loves violence because it makes a lot of money. And so then kids see violence in video games and they play, and just violent, violent, violent. And America's murder rate is the highest among all in the industrialized world. And we remain the leader in school violence and bullying. There's even a school shooting today in Oregon, at a community college. I mean, it seems like every day there's a new shooting, new violence coming in schools, and this must stop. Right? Schools must help in the prevention effort. Right? We're the first line of defense. Right? And so America has witnessed assassinations, lynching, riots, all kinds of violence. America was born into violence, and we still are glued to violence. Right? OMG, shocking statistics. These are just crazy. Before a child leaves elementary school, they see approximately 8,000 murders, 100,000 acts of violence. All right, all this on TV before they even get out of 6th grade. Insane. And another 6 years later, when I graduate from high school, add another 100,000 hours to that. Boom, crazy. I mean, why is our society so obsessed with this violence? And then 85% of schools report one or more incidents of violent crimes during the past school year. And instances of bullying begin as early as preschool-age children bullying one another. This is insane. Right? Media violence can desensitize viewers to real violence and making them extra fearful of it as well. I mean, it's really getting into overdrive. This violence is just maddening in American society. And in 2010, middle school and high school students were victims of 1.2 million crimes in school. Right? This, however, is lower than previous year, but still, nonetheless, any violence is just too much violence. So, just this crazy statistics here to show. What can schools do to help? Well, there are many violent prevention curriculums out there, such as the ASAP, SAVE, StopBullying.gov, Common Sense Media, and Stomp Out Bullying. Schools have a plethora of resources at their disposal that can help teach students to right and wrong when it comes to violence, and teach them that physical aggression is never the answer. Right? Children must learn how to understand and control their anger. And schools can help this by teaching alternative solutions in school-wide anti-violence curriculums. Schools are the first line of defense against violence in their schools. Take care of your own. And here's many anti-violence programs that are available for schools, right? Such as the ASAP, SAVE, Second Step, many resources for anti-bullying, such as Brain Pop, Common Sense Media, Connect Safety, Cyberbully Help, Learning.com, Stomp Out Bullying, StopBullying.gov, and A Thin Line. Right? How do we reduce the violence? Well, reducing the violence requires several things, such as social and cognitive training for students, counseling support, conflict resolution, attention to diversity issues. We're all in this together. We're all human. It doesn't matter, any differences. We're all the same. All right, we all bleed red. So programs to reduce isolation and alienation, drug and alcohol education, anti-gang programs, anti-bullying programs, suicide prevention, special training for staff, and parental outreach. All these are very, very important and help to reduce violence. Right? Bullying and cyberbullying. The most common type of school violence is bullying. It occurs every day. All right, whether it be face-to-face or cyberbullying. And according to StopBullying.gov, cyberbullying is bullying that takes place using electronic technology. That includes devices and equipment such as cell phones, computers, as well as social media, texting, chats, websites, you name it. The kids are on it. There's going to be bullying going on. And cyberbullying is a little trickier to combat because, well, a lot of it happens outside school, but it also ends up spilling into school. I've witnessed that firsthand. Last year, we had some of that cyberbullying going on outside of school, and we had to deal with it in school. So it is a school problem and needs to be addressed. And bullies typically struggle academically and socially, and the victims, well, they also suffer as well. State laws. Many states have laws that attempt to address bullying and cyberbullying, but the law is not enough. That school step in and help, the law, it's not good enough. And so schools can combat bullying and cyberbullying by developing a code of conduct and establishing schools culture that ensures respect, tolerance for every student and staff. Right. Can we just ignore the problem? No, we cannot. And so inaction sends a message to bullies that, I can do whatever I want. No one's going to do anything about it. And tells victims that we don't care about them, that they're not worth protecting. Okay, we must act. The schools must act against the violence, or it will continue to grow and foster in and out of school. And the school's place to help prevent violence and to teach kids how to handle their aggression and the aggression of others. Critics believe that that's not the school's place. Schools should just teach the curriculum, stick to the basics, math, science, ELA, social studies. If what you're teaching, that's what you teach. Right? And leave it to the experts. Leave it to society. parents, community. But that cannot be even more false. Schools must act. It is the duty of schools to protect the students. Protect and nurture the students in and out of schools. It is our duty as schools to help prevent violence. Right? And finally, it takes a village. Okay? Schools play a very important part, but also it takes the parents, communities, fellow students. Everyone has to play an active role together to help curb violence. It takes a village. The country as a whole, the community as a whole, must come together in all of its parts. Right? And we must help combat bullying, combat violence. And we can do that if we all in this together and we all have the same goal in mind to combat and end violence and bullying in schools. That can be done and should be done and prevented, and schools play an important part in that. Here are my references: the textbook, and it's stopbullying.gov. And that's all, folks. Thanks for watching. And once again, schools can and should help prevent against school violence and bullying. Thank you.